Welcome back, Book Crows, to the third episode of The Cruel Prince, which this one is known as The Queen of Nothing, the third book in the Folk of the Air series. Thyme, how you feeling?
Good. Time.
Very tired. This is day 3 of recording things. We had a whole day between us recording book 1 and 2 before we started recording book 3. Do you need any refreshers?
I don't think so. Maybe a little bit. Enigma has fried my
Oh,
brain,
yeah.
and I'm not
I'm
even
so
done
sorry.
with it.
Well, at the end of book 3, is that where we want to start the refresher? Okay,
uh,
at the end of book 3, Jude got married to Cardan. She released her control over him after they got married, and then he found out that she murdered his brother in a duel. Everybody's demanding something be done about her. We've avoided war with the Undersea. The Undersea also is officially allied with Cardan and as a High King. And in an attempt to cool things over with the Undersea, Cardan has banished Jude until the crown pardons her. Which, of course, she counts as the crown right now, but, like, doesn't matter. People aren't going to believe that she's High Queen.
yeah, because they didn't have a party thing.
Yeah, they didn't have a party thing. It was a secret wedding. Locke got married to Taran in the middle of the book, and that's when Jude was taken to the Undersea, kidnapped by the ghost as the one that betrayed her. Oak and Vivi are in the human realm, but Heather is like pseudo breaked up with Vivi because Vivi used a glamour on Heather, and Heather's not very happy about that. Nobody's happy about Vivi using a glamour on Heather. Everybody's upset. And I think that's a good wrap up of like the basic hit points before we go into it.
Yeah, I think so. I think the only thing missing was Maddox fucking off with like half the army.
Yes, Maddox is now independent and free from the High King and is fucked off with half the army. It is
Not good.
not very good. I'm sure you can figure out who the big bad of the series is right now. It's a good old Maddox.
What?
Okay. This book does take some significant turns, so I hope you are ready for this one, like a little bit of a roller coaster.
Okay.
Okay. So, remember how in book 1 there was a prologue that was in third person?
Yes.
Book two's prologue was in first person. We actually skipped the prologue for book 2 because it was character stuff. It was showing the dynamics between Maddox and how he raised Jude and Taryn. But this one actually is very important, and so we're going to go in a little bit of detail of what's going on in this prologue. It is another third person prologue. And then the rest of the story will go back to Jude's first person perspective. This third person prologue is recounting the tale of the royal astrologer reading the stars to know Cardan's fate as a newborn prince, with a few little stories about Cardan growing up, so that we understand some moving pieces here. So first of all, the stars say that Cardan is the High King's last born child. So, fun fact, this means that when Locke's mother got pregnant, that everybody knew that she would either die or that the child wasn't the king's if it was to be born. Born alive. Yeah. So this is the king's last born child. And that Cardan will be the destruction of the crown and the ruination of the throne. Yeah.
Well, that sounds great.
This kid is hours old, and that's what the stars say his future is. In searching for answers to prevent such a fate, the only extra information the astrologer can divine is that only out of Cardan's spilled blood will a great ruler rise, but only after what has already been said comes to pass.
Okay.
Fun fact, Cardan has been aware of this prophecy since the entire time. He knows why he's not liked by his family. This is the whole reason he's been treated as a shitty prince and why nobody gives a shit about him, is because this is his fate.
Also, why he never wanted to be king.
Yes, also why he never wanted to be king. Notably, the king is given a warning that a lot of times many prophecies come to pass because of the actions taken to avoid the prophecies. So the king just tells Asha, Cardan's mom, to raise her son as she sees fit. Asha is a horrible person, really shit person in existence. She finds a nursing cat and gives Cardan to the nursing cat while she lives lavishly in the court.
Okay.
Yeah. Asha was not liked by the High King. He kind of just slept with her once, maybe twice, for fun, and didn't think he was going to get a kid out of it because, you know, the fairies don't really get kids very often, but, like, he accidentally got a kid from Asha, and normally that would automatically make you a consort if you give birth to a kid for the king. He never gave her consort status. She was a permanent member of the court once she gave birth to Cardan because of all of that, but she never got the status of consort because she was so hated by the king. And she's a vile person, as you can tell. She, instead of raising her kid, gave her kid to a nursing cat and never gave him attention or affection.
How'd she end up in jail?
We're getting to that.
Okay.
So one day, Dane frames Cardan for killing a beloved human servant in the court, and this is... I'm brushing over exactly what that servant situation is. If you have questions about how there is a beloved human servant in the court, I will gladly answer it.
I'll just accept it. They're not important because they die in the prologue.
Yeah, they die in the prologue. Regardless, the king is not happy about it, and he uses this chance to banish Asha, and by banish I mean throw her in the Tower of Forgetting, and asks somebody else to take care of Cardan in Asha's place. And so Baelkin takes Cardan in. And we all know how that worked out for Cardan.
Not good.
And that's the end of the prologue, is going through all of those events really fast.
Okay.
But this is also how Cardan knows that Dane is a piece of shit.
Okay, so that's how we get his backstory, basically.
Mm-hmm. So, now we're out of the prologue. We're into the first 2 chapters. We're going to go over the first 2, I think it's 3 actually, chapters really fast. Because nobody wants to talk about the human world. We all know what the human world is. I haven't been to Portland, Maine. I would love to visit Portland, Maine, because one of my closest friends lives in Portland, Maine. But we all know what Maine is like. So it's been 4 months since the end of the second book. And Jude is still living in the human world, living in exile, knowing that she's the queen of the high court, but, like, nobody knows and nobody believes her except for Vivi. Vivi does actually believe her. So Jude, living with Vivi in exile, is helping raise Oak, who is struggling with being a magical boy in a human world. And also he's figured out that Jude wants him to be High King and keeps saying that he doesn't want to be High King. Just not happy about it. Also, she's taken a job. She's become a fairy arms for hire, basically, taking on jobs that pay. This basically means that she does jobs for fairies in the human world as a human. Mostly violent ones. We'll get that out of the way. Meanwhile, Vivi, still trying to smooth things over with Heather, who has finally messaged her back and has asked to forget everything related to fairies and to be left alone afterwards.
Fair.
Yeah. So Jude goes to work, and her current job tonight is to stop a red cap. So remember, Madoc is a red cap, so we already know what red caps do. Named Grima Mog from eating fairy folk in the human world. And I do actually have a picture of Grima.
Motherfuckers just eating people.
She's eating fairies.
Isn't that cannibalism?
Yes. I think I have here. Yes. Grima Mog was the great general before Madoc was, and she was exiled many generations ago for being a fairy cannibal.
Oh yeah. That's a lovely looking human being. Well, fairy being.
Mm-hmm. Fairy being. Again, the red caps looks like oranges. Looks like orcs. Oranges. They're very green and blue colored.
Yeah, I would not want to come across her in a dark alley, munching on a fairy.
Yeah, she lives in an abandoned warehouse. Yeah, munching on fellow fae. So obviously a fight happens between Grima Mog and Jude. Notably, Grima Mog isn't just eating fairies. She just eats whatever living being she wants, and she doesn't care if it's a fairy or a human. But the reason the hit went out on Grima Mog was because she keeps eating fairies in the human world. And it's a pretty even match between Grima Mog and Jude. But eventually, Jude wins by holding Grima Mog's blood cap hostage. You know, that, like, cap that they dip
Yeah.
into the blood of their kills? Yeah, so she holds that hostage, and that's what eventually gets Grima Mog to kneel. In exchange for her cap back, she promises not to hunt in the mortal lands. To hunt no more on mortal lands.
There's ways around that.
There are ways around that. The mortal lands are anything that isn't the Fey kingdom that Jude is from. And Grima Mog being exiled from the Fey kingdom means that she is always on mortal lands, and so if she can't hunt on mortal lands, like, it kind of works. It works enough. It gets the point across. But as Jude leaves, she tells her that Madoc has allied with the Court of Teeth to dethrone Cardan.
Why does he want to dethrone Cardan?
Madoc is power hungry.
He wants to be king. Got it.
Yeah, he wants to be king. So, Jude returns to Vivi's to find Heather at the front door, too nervous to knock. They have a heart-to-heart, and Heather reveals that she does want to work things out with Vivi, but doesn't know how to parse the whole fairy thing, especially with the glamour thing, and she doesn't actually know what the fairies are capable of doing, and she doesn't know what Vivi doesn't know what to mention.
Yeah.
So she's really lost, and that's why she kind of just wants to forget it all. So Jude recommends making a deal with Vivi so that Vivi can't do magic on her.
Fair.
Yeah, and they talk, and they enter the house together and find Taryn sitting there.
Hello.
Hello, bitch. we're still upset at you for the end of the last book. Taryn, wife of Locke, sitting there. Obviously, Jude is very pissed and wants nothing to do with Taryn.
Yes.
Reasonably. Oh, go ahead. You were about to say something.
I mean, bitch literally stole her identity to fool the king using her magic earrings.
Yep. Jude cares about family. That's one of the big things. Like, her and Madoc are the same in the sense of family comes first.
That only goes so far.
And both of the characters absolutely exemplify how far that can go. Even though Jude is definitely kinder to Madoc than Madoc is to Jude. But Jude starts to listen to Taryn when Taryn reveals that Locke is dead.
Good. He deserved it.
Not only is Locke dead, Taryn killed him.
Why?
Yeah. This is the first 4 chapters of the book that we get this reveal. Locke died off page.
Why did she kill him?
So basically, she snapped.
He was fooling around with someone.
What happened was that she tried to have a conversation with him, and she literally just describes it as he was talking, and she was looking at the letter opener that was bejeweled and dazzled next to him, and the next thing she knows, the letter opener is in his neck, and he's no longer talking.
Okay.
Here's something fun. In the second book, I didn't mention this line, but at one point during Jude threatening Locke told her, despite what her ridiculous family believes, murder is not the answer to everything. And there's an annotation there from Hollyblack saying, "Oh, Locke, if only you knew."
I feel like she could have killed him over something more than just he wouldn't shut the fuck up.
I have a theory behind this, but we're going to get to the end of the paragraph before we get to the theory that I have about this. So, his body was discovered because instead of burying or something else, Taryn tried to drag his body out to sea, and they caught her dragging his body out to sea.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
You're a terrible murderer.
She is a terrible murderer. We're having this problem again. Notably, they didn't arrest her right then and there, but they are coming to get her to do what they call an inquisition, but it's basically just a court case.
Yeah.
Where they're going to ask her what's going on. So instead, she ran to Jude, and she is begging Jude to take her place in the court hearing. So that Jude can say under glamour, because of course they're going to put Taryn under a glamour at the court hearing, that she didn't kill him. And the whole thing is like, hey, you didn't kill him, so if they ask you if you kill him, you're going to say no, because it's the truth, no matter what the glamour says. And Jude at that point, like, is like, okay, actually, the glamour's not even going to work because of my chaos. And she finally tells her sister both of her sisters, what the deal is with the chaos thing. Also, Heather left in the scene. I'm skipping over details, but Heather is no longer in the room.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot of convincing to get Jude to go along with this plan, but Jude does push back a little bit before she goes through with it. Also, in the middle of the night, after Jude does some showering, because, fun fact, Jude, during the conversation with Taryn, almost passes out, so they take her into the get a bath because she just, had that fight with Grima Mog not too long ago and she's bleeding. And that's when Heather leaves, yada yada. Like, these are the details I'm skipping, by the way. So, once again, a little bit more of a time skip later. It's just Taryn and Jude now, and Taryn says, also, I'm pregnant. In fact, it was the conversation that Taryn was having with Locke where she said, by the way, I'm pregnant, to Locke, where she killed Locke.
Okay. Oh, so he, didn't want the kid or something?
No. Taryn was trying to talk about, hey, since we're going to be parents soon, you should probably change your ways so that you don't fuck up our child.
Valid.
And he was gaslighting her. When you read the paragraph,
okay,
the multiple paragraphs, it was just classic gaslighting.
Yeah.
This man was trying to gaslight her into being a single mother while he goes off and does whatever the fuck he wants.
Men.
He wasn't gonna break up with her. It's just, married women actually have more of a workload because their husbands do so little around the house and help out so little.
Men.
Yeah. I have a theory, by the way. I think we've talked about it already, about the fact that he has a sugar ton that influences people to do things and like him.
Yeah.
My theory is that her pregnancy made her immune to that. And that's why she snapped.
Like having the fairy baby in there, changed how she reacted to stuff.
Yes. Now, there's nothing in the books to indicate this whatsoever. This is just a personal theory that I have about the whole thing.
It is an interesting one.
The baby kept Taryn from being affected, and Taryn's real personality of being a slightly murderous person came out in that moment. But yes, Locke is dead, and Taryn is pregnant with his baby. And now Jude is going to pretend to be Taryn in the court case.
That's gonna go terrible.
It goes fine.
Well, what excuse do they have for, yeah, I didn't kill him, but I was dragging his body to the sea?
Great question. I don't know, they found his body while she was dragging out to sea, but apparently I don't know if they connected the dots that she was there or not. The details of exactly how they caught her are so fuzzy in the first place. I'm not completely sure.
Could have at least pretended that you didn't kill him and, be like, oh my god, my husband, ah!
Yeah, they don't ask about the dragging out to sea and why his body was where his body was during the court case. But I think that's also because of Carden in that moment.
Maybe.
Yeah. I will say, skipping through a few chapters of Jude pretending to be Taryn for a second, she does an excellent job of pretending to be Taryn because they've done it a few times, as identical twins have done in the past.
Fair.
This is the first time that they have done it on page in the book. Any point in the series before this, they've not pretended to be themselves, to be each other. But they are doing it for this set of chapters, for a good chunk of the book, by the way. She fools every member of the High Court. Jude has convinced everybody around her that she is Taryn, except for Carden. But Carden plays along, and Jude is completely, it's gone over her head that Carden has noticed. The first thing he says when he looks at her is, Taryn? And it's so clear to the audience that he saw through it, and Jude is on, just thinking so much on her feet in that moment. She's like, I gotta pretend to be Taryn in every way, that she's not thinking about the fact that he just said it weirdly, but everybody else has been going along with it just fine. So, she gets through the lies are working well, and Nicasia claims that there could be a charm preventing the glamour from working. So Nicasia is she could still be lying. A reminder that Nicasia is the ambassador for the Undersea and was still friends with Locke and kissed Locke many times. So Carden, reminder, he knows that it's Jude, but Jude doesn't know that he knows that, is okay, I will examine her alone in my bedroom. Yeah. Jude obviously is like, okay, I gotta find a way to escape because Carden's gonna know it's her once they take clothes off. Because a reminder that Jude has a ton of scars from her time doing things everywhere, but Taran doesn't. Like, there's a whole thing where Jude is like, I gotta wear gloves the entire time I'm Taran because of that scar on her hand from book 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as Carden walks to his chambers, a little fairy spills wine on Jude and says that her father is coming to save her and to look out for the signal. Then, once alone in Carden's rooms, he drops all the pretenses and asks Jude if she ever received his letters. Which, by the way, it takes Jude a while to realize that Carden, like, they're having a back and forth where she's still playing as though she is Taran, and Carden's like, please, I'm talking to you like you're Jude because you're Jude. And she's like, no, I'm Taran. Because she thinks he's going to try and do something to her. The whole banishment thing. And she's convinced that yeah. By the way, Jude never received letters from him. I know that you're seeing this like she's being stupid. A reminder that he tried to kill her in book 1. And he was pissed with her at the end of book 1, beginning of book 2. And then he banished her at the end of book 3.
Yeah, but they're literally married.
Yeah, they're literally married. She knows that they're married, but she doesn't know if she can trust him.
Okay.
I know. So, for the record, Jude never received Taran's letters. These are, the letters do exist. They have been written down by Hollyblack. And if you subscribe to Hollyblack's newsletter, you get to read the letters for free. For the record, they are beautifully devastating. Because it's just Carden going from being like, don't you like my little wordplay, to like slowly deteriorating as he slowly begs more and more for Jude to come back and how much he misses her.
And I'm guessing they were intercepted.
Yes, they were intercepted by his mother, who Jude noticed during the court scene. His mother is back at the court.
Oh.
Yeah. Carden pardoned his mother.
Why don't they just pardon Taran then?
They were about to pardon Taran before Nicasia was like, wait, there could be a charm on her preventing the glamour from working, yada yada.
And why doesn't he just pardon her now and then go get her?
Great question. He should have thought about that sooner, shouldn't he?
People are dumb.
Yes, people are dumb. But he's also getting manipulated by his mother and a few other court people, so... Once Jude realizes that Carden is actually, like, talking, like, she can't hide it from him anymore. Fun fact, she is shaking in this scene. She's scared. And Carden even comments that she's shaking and says something about not wanting her to be afraid. So...
Be not afraid.
Jude's response to that was like, starts yelling at him over how he fucked her over at the end of the last book. But that's interrupted because Maddox's plan to rescue Taran starts happening and Jude is whisked away because everybody thinks that she's Taran right now. Except for Carden. Great choices all around. Honestly, all of this makes sense, doesn't it? Like, literally, by the way, Maddox chloroforms her to get her to come, like he's just like, my sweet daughter, don't worry about this, and then fucking chloroforms her.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck? So Taran was like, hey, I need you to pretend to be me because I would be forced to tell the truth in the court case. Doesn't know her dad's gonna save her. Jude's like, okay, yeah, also not knowing the dad's gonna save her, but someone tells her that the dad's gonna come save her, and she just, like, doesn't think anything of it.
A reminder, she is scared out of her mind right now.
Fair. I mean, she's literally impersonating a murderer.
I mean, she's already a murderer. Jude has killed more people than Taran has.
Okay, yes, but also hers were kind of justified.
Yeah, and she got away with all of them except for the Balekin one.
Yeah, and, like, honestly, he should have just pardoned her by now.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, maybe don't impersonate your sister, who's a complete and total crazy psycho, and just murdered her husband.
They do, in fact, they get on better terms later in this.
Like, if my sister murdered her husband, I would not be... number one, I can't impersonate any of them. I have no twin. But also, like...
Even the twins in your family are not identical.
No. But if one of my sisters murdered their husband, I'd just be like, sucks.
Honestly, if one specific one of your sisters murders her husband, I would be like, good riddance, but also she did it.
Yeah. Like, I would literally just be like, good luck, mate. Have fun.
Good luck. Yeah. If the other sister murdered her husband, I would be like, okay, what happened? What happened? We need to get the details down before I just make a decision on what to do here.
Fair.
You know exactly which sister is in which situation here. Yeah. So, again, Maddox, still thinking Jude is Taryn, is taking Jude up north where his encampment with the Court of Teeth is. Up north where it's nice and cold and snowy. On the way, we also learned that Carden has finally killed people. He has killed people in an attempt to get Jude back from Maddox because he was using his power of Earth to try and stop Maddox from taking Jude away from him again. So he's finally done some bloodshed.
He's like, bitch, that's my wife. Give her back now.
Yeah. She just came back to me. Don't you dare take her away. But this also means that he is now using his power to control the Earth very well. Like, even though he made an entire island at the end of the last book, this is, once again, showcasing the fact that he's powerful. He's a very powerful man right now, both in metaphysical and, like both in the political and the actual power levels.
Okay, idea.
Power scaling.
Idea. You make it so that the ground that they're in, like, sinks, and then you pluck her out, and then you just leave him in the hole.
That is smart, isn't it? I feel like it's too smart for Carden. Like, Carden's not smart.
I'm over here, like, ways to fix this.
Carden is not smart. He is not smart. Let's remember that Carden is of average intelligence.
Okay.
For the next few things that are going to be going on, Jude is like, it's in my best interest to continue playing along as Carden, because Maddox thinks that she's Carden. Maddox upset with her right now.
Taryn.
As Jude. Yeah, not Carden. So
if she was pretending to be Carden, that'd be much more interesting.
That would be. Jude is like, okay, I gotta pretend that I am Taryn for the rest of whatever's going on until I can escape. Just because, like, Maddox pissed at Jude for being Jude, but he's still doing his family father thing with Taryn. And Jude's like, I just need to have time to formulate a new plan.
Yeah.
So she's gonna keep doing what she's been doing. Alright, so we're gonna move real quick through the encampment arc. I say as though it's not a 2-paragraph thing, technically 3 if you count the last one, but yeah, and the first paragraph's pretty chunky, so we're gonna move through it very quickly though, because it is actually like more than a quarter of the book. It's close to a third of the book that she's in the encampment.
Wait, he doesn't realize that's the wrong daughter?
He doesn't realize that's the wrong daughter for a while. You actually want to know who figures it out first?
Who?
Oriana.
Sea Witch?
No, Oriana, his wife.
Oh, his wife. I forgot he remarried.
Yeah, he's remarried. The one that's pretending to be Oak's mother, even though she ripped Oak out of his real mother's belly when
Yummy.
His mother was poisoned.
Yummy.
Yeah. Yeah. Delicious. Oak for dinner. This kid's like 8.
Okay, but also, that's pretty shit. That's pretty shitty.
Yeah.
You don't realize your own kid, well, your adopted kid is not the adopted kid you think your adopted kid is? It's pretty shitty.
The entire time, he knows. He's known the entire time. Maddox has known who this real kid's parents are.
No. I mean, he doesn't realize that that's not Taryn. That's what I mean.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he doesn't realize it's Taryn the whole fucking time. Yeah, not until the end. So, the Court of Teeth has a daughter that is about Oak's age that was a changeling and thus has never taken on an oath to the crown. Her parents have made her queen so that the entire court could break off from their oath to Carden. But then her parents then use a golden bridle made by Grimson to control her. This is a horrifying act. It sinks into her skin. She has cuts everywhere. Do you remember when I showed you a picture of a blue-skinned girl and said that wasn't Nicasia?
Yeah.
That's adult version of this girl. If you look at that picture again, which I can find it... Well, actually, you don't have to scroll up very much. If you look at it more carefully, you will see the scars from this golden bridle.
Oh, yeah.
In her cheeks.
Yeah.
From when she was 8 years old.
Not a good plan. Like, absolutely horrifying, shitty parent thing to do.
Yep. So technically they're in power, but their daughter is the official queen. Their daughter who cannot make decisions whatsoever. And can't even talk, for the record. The golden bridle completely keeps her from talking.
Wow.
Maddock is using a potential marriage to Oak between her and Oak as the alliance pin in this situation. So that's how he's got the Court of Teeth on his side.
Can they get the brittle removed?
Yes, you can remove the brittle. In theory, after something like 10, 15 years, the brittle will be part of your skin permanently. But it's not been on her for that long.
Okay.
Thankfully. The golden brittle is important, by the way. Keep that in your mind. Also, Grimson, the guy who made the golden brittle, he's here. He's officially aligned with Maddock. His goal is very simple, by the way. You get to finally find out what Grimson's goal is. You remember who Grimson is?
Yeah, he's trying to make a new crown.
Yes, he's trying to make a new crown. And he's just following whichever side of the war wants his services so that he can become a legend again. That's his singular goal, is to become a legend. And so he believes Maddock is the one that will make him be a legend again. And he's forging a new crown for Maddock. Jude decides to put her spying skills to work as to gather as much information as possible. What's going on, what's being made, she gets into the strategy room to figure out that. But she actually gets into the strategy room pretty late in this sequence. I'm mentioning it now, but again, we're going over it really fast. She'll get into the strategy room and look at what's going on, pretending to be Taryn in front of Maddock at the end of this. By the way, that's when Maddock realizes that Jude is Jude, not Taryn, because he sees the look in her eyes and goes, oh, Taryn would never have that look looking at strategy. So, that being said, we're going to skip over a lot of character moments because, once again, Maddock is a family man who loves his daughters, and he thinks that this is Taryn, and so a lot of this is just building up the character family dynamics. We're going to skip to Jude finding the ghost all tied up in a cave just outside of camp. He's been there for a while.
Ooh.
So it turns out that the only reason he betrayed Jude was because Locke got a hold of his true name and shared it with Nicasia, and then Nicasia used that to control the ghost, and that's why he actually betrayed Jude in that moment in the second book. It was not of his free will. When Jude gets back from talking to the ghost, with a new resolve to free him, by the way, this is the point where Oriana has figured out that Jude is not Taryn. So they talk. Oriana agrees not to turn in Jude, as well as to send a letter to Vivi, but this does throw a wrench in Jude's plans to escape, because Oriana is now watching her like a hawk. After this is when she sits in the war room, pretending to be a caring daughter, pretending to be Taryn, and that's when Maddock is like, oh my god, that's Jude, not Taryn. So, that's roughly the correct orders. None of Jude's plans come to fruition because the Roach and Cardin and the Roach show up one night into her bedroom at the encampment to rescue her before she can put all of her plans into motions.
What was she planning to do?
She was planning to steal the key to the ghost's chains and release him and then run away that night.
Ah, okay.
She wasn't quite sure how to get out past that, but that was her rough plan. Also, Taryn and Vivi and a friend, make your bets now who the friend is, are waiting in the woods with the ragwort steeds for all of them to show back up. You gonna make your bet on who the friend is?
It's either Taryn or Heather.
It is Taryn and Vivi and somebody else.
Oh, okay. Is it Heather?
Yeah. That's what Jude thinks.
Ooh, is it Oak? Don't tell me they brought the kid.
No, they did not bring the kid.
Oh, thank God.
But the spoiler here is that Heather is watching Oak while all of this is going down.
Okay. I have no idea who it is.
Okay.
Turns out it's Zombie Locke.
All right. Zombie Locke. Locke has returned from the dead. No. Locke stays dead. Thank fucking God. So Jude doesn't want to go until she can free the ghost. So they try to help her on that mission instead. Cardin, the Roach, and Jude sneaking through the encampment to try and figure out how to free the ghost, using Jude's already developed plan. Unfortunately, they get caught on that mission by Grimson's anti-theft system, because he does have a security system in his forge.
Smart man.
Yeah, it happens super fast, and ends with the Roach going down to poison. Poison that makes him sleep for 100 years.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So Cardin tries to convince Jude to leave with him right then and there, with the Roach in Cardin's arms, And she tells him to fly away instead, and she'll catch up with her sisters so that her sisters know to escape and don't wait for them forever. This is a half lie, because she's still gonna try and save the ghost.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Like,
they already have the key. They got caught stealing the key, and that's how they set off the thing.
That's not a good plan, my dude. Like, just maybe hide in the forest or something, and then go save him after it's cooled down.
Yeah. But no, she just kind of goes for it. But also respect, because she's like, when else am I going to be here?
Fair.
Unfortunately, by the time she reaches the prison, the ghost is gone, and Maddox is there instead, waiting for her.
You did set off the alarm.
Not only did she set off the alarm, he already figured out it was her by this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So rather than fighting Maddox, they have a short verbal confrontation. And when that confrontation comes to an end, Jude runs. Fun fact, this is mirroring when her mother runs, because Maddox once again says, "Don't run." And he said it to Jude again this time. And he chases her, and thankfully Jude can hold her own, unlike her mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fight goes kinda well until Maddox lands a fatal blow, like literally stabs her right where the stomach is. Yeah. He's clearly afraid and concerned for Jude in this moment. This man is like, oh my god, I just stabbed you. You're going to die. Fuck, fuck, fuck.
What did you think was gonna happen? Like, you were literally sword fighting her.
Yeah. Like he genuinely shows a lot of love for her in this moment. And actually doesn't want to go, like, he doesn't want to leave her alone. He wants to be there for her in this moment. But Vivi pops out from behind a tree.
I would stab him. Like, as he's, like, warning me, I would stab him in the neck. Stab him.
Honestly, she should. She should. But Vivi pops out from behind a tree and shoots arrows at him until he goes away.
And she misses?
Vivi cannot shoot for shit. He doesn't quite know that. He kind of gets it, but, like, she can't shoot for shit. Taryn and the friend make your final bet now.
I don't remember enough character names.
Grima Mog.
Wait, the cannibal?
Yeah.
I was not expecting the cannibal. They would never have been on my guest list. I was not expecting a cannibal.
Honestly.
Does she eat Maddox?
No, I wish. There's a scene later where Grima Mog gives Jude soup, and Jude's like, I don't want to think about if there's something nasty in this soup or not, so I'm not going to question it. And there's an annotation where hollyblack is like, there's absolutely something that Jude doesn't want to eat in that soup.
I did not need to know that, Holly. Thank you.
I was like, yes, Holly! These are the fairies that I love. By the way, that soup is not the scene where somebody says, do you want soup, followed by, do you want to be soup? That has already happened in this book, is when Jude is at the encampment and a fairy asks her that question in that order. Do you want soup? No. Would you like to be soup?
You know, I'm just hoping that it was a fairy and not a human in that soup.
Probably.
It probably was.
Probably.
I bet they taste better.
Oh, I bet they taste delicious. Do you think they taste like salmon? That's what I imagine fairies taste like.
A very floral salmon.
Yeah, salmon covered in roses with a peach sauce, like a rose sauce with a peach poached on the side.
That sounds yummy.
See, I have good taste. So, everyone is convinced that Jude is actively dying, and Jude notices that she is actively dying, and everybody's just trying to figure out what to do, but Jude goes, you need to stitch me up, but before you stitch me up, pack as much dirt in this wound as possible.
This is magical dirt that just heals you.
Nobody believes her words. They're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? That is not how this works. You are going to get sick if you survive this, if we do that. Now, it works.
This is just magical dirt.
You want it? No. She's the Queen of High Fairy.
Oh, she's tied to the land. That's right.
Yeah. As this scene is happening, she remembers the flowers, Cardin's blood turning into flowers once it hits the ground. Mm. And she sees the same type of flowers next to her, and that's when she starts telling them to put dirt in her. So, like, it's a cool little reveal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so if there's a wildflower, would it kill them?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. They could probably put it out, though.
Ooh.
Now, remember that verbal confrontation that Maddox and Jude had right before the sword fight and the running happened?
Yes.
During that, Maddox said something when she asked him where the ghost was to say, talk about Carden instead, and said, wouldn't it be so nice to get rid of Carden with an arrow to his chest in his own castle? So that makes Jude go, oh my god, they're going to go assassinate Carden. And Maddox made it sound like it was going to happen tomorrow night. Instead of traveling with her sisters, Jude travels alone to the palace to stop the assassination.
Okay.
Notably, she's not doing too hot this entire time. She just stuffed dirt in her wound until it healed. And you're not going to immediately heal from a life-threatening situation.
No.
Again, she has stitches in this situation, too.
So is she going to get, like, accosted at the palace because she's technically still banished?
She gets there and changes into sneakier clothes at first to kind of hide her identity. She leaves an anonymous tip to look out for the assassination attempt with specifically look to the rafters, because that's how the ghost has killed people before. And then during the party, Jude goes to the rafters to look for the ghost.
Oh my god. So they're gonna arrest her.
Yeah, that entire thing was... the bomb throws the bomb at her before realizing that it's her.
Oh my god.
So yeah, it was just a trap laid out by Maddox to get into Jude's head. And it worked.
You could, like, also, you told people to pay attention to the rafters, and then you went in the rafters like an idiot?
Yeah.
My guy.
Yeah, reminder, she is feverish this entire time. She had lost a lot of blood. She's not doing too hot.
I'll blame it on the fever.
Yeah.
I'll blame it on the fever.
Jude manages to avoid getting hit by the bomb by dodging and then promptly falling out of the rafters onto the banquet table.
That's gonna hurt.
Yeah. Notably, that breaks open her stitches.
Does dirt come out?
Blood.
Oh. I was hoping some dirt would come out, too. You're like, what the fuck you got dirt in there for?
What's the dirt with? So she falls onto the banquet table. Everybody's just like, oh my god, the exiled murderer is back. Let's go deal with her. And Carden stops all of them, steps in, and he's like, she is not exiled. She is my wife. And right as he says that, Jude passes out.
Oh, well, at least he finally said something.
At least he finally said something.
Imagine being his mom in that scene.
Right? His mom, who's been actively preventing him from getting back together with her. I love my notes here. I have my notes say, see, Jude went from nearly dying with some questionable surgery to climbing rafters and almost getting shot, so her stitches have reopened. But I said that out of order. Anyways. She is being treated with the utmost care in Carden's room. She wakes up from her surgeries and treatments to find Oak in her room playing Uno with her childhood maid.
Aw.
Yeah. We have a cute little family reunion. Heather's there, Vivi's there, Taryn's there, Oak's there. They're all being cute and catching up.
Why is Taryn there?
Because Taryn was pardoned by Carden. Now, this family reunion is in fact interrupted by Carden asking her to go on a walk with him. Notably, like, Jude's doing a lot better. It's been a week, maybe a little bit less, since she fell from the rafters, had her surgery, is getting healed, you know. She's healing faster than a normal human would because of the whole dirt thing.
Don't actually rub dirt in your wounds, kids.
Please do not. That is how you get sepsis.
And tetanus.
Please, yeah, just don't actually rub dirt in your wounds. It's bad for you. It only works on Jude because she's the queen.
I love how that's a saying in our modern culture. Just rub some dirt in it. Like, hello?
Mm-hmm. Like, what are you doing?
Do you know how much bacteria is in dirt?
They do not. But you know what? They just forgot about the lead in their walls. So, like, let them do what the lead tells them to do.
Let them do what the lead tells them to do?
Yeah. It's like the black mold in J.K. Rowling's house.
Oh, yeah, that theory.
Telling her to hate trans people.
Hey, I grew up in a house with black mold, okay? It doesn't make us hate trans people.
Fair. Might explain your parents, though.
You know what? I don't think anything will explain my parents.
Valid.
Other than good old-fashioned propaganda.
True, and that's kind of the same thing with J.K. Rowling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Except J.K. Rowling has become the propaganda.
And is also a billionaire.
Mm-hmm. Also a billionaire. At least be like Dolly Parton and donate your billions so that you can actually, like, do good.
I know, right? Dolly Parton's the best.
Dolly Parton would be a billionaire by now if she didn't donate most of her money.
Oh, yeah. And she does that reading program where like, she sends books to kids.
See, we just love her.
She's an icon.
Yes, and I don't want a single person saying that we hate Christian people when Dolly Parton is a Christian and she's doing a wonderful job being a good Christian.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We just don't like Christian nationalists.
Yes, thank you. Okay, moving on past that. They're on a walk. Carden has opened the court to accept Jude's siblings as his family, because Jude's siblings are his family now, because they're married.
You got some shit siblings, kid.
Yeah. I mean, her siblings are still better than his siblings.
Fair. Her siblings haven't tried to kill her yet.
True. Though she did try to kill one of her... Well, no, she didn't try to kill one of her siblings. She just challenged the sibling to a duel. Also, Heather is included in this deal, too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So on the walk, they catch up on the other political movings. Maddox believes that Jude is dead and sent a letter to Carden, blaming Carden for the situation.
You killed your own kid and you're a mine. How are you blaming him?
Blaming Carden for manipulating Jude so that... Because it's a public letter.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And for banishing Jude in the first place and for putting her in a position to pretend to be Taran and stuff like that. Like, he blames Carden for it instead of himself.
Taran put Jude in a place where she was pretending to be Taran. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. True. Honestly, though, Taran's valid in this situation. Now, the Living Council wants to talk to Jude, and that's because they want to know what Jude saw in Maddox's encampment. And Jude sets down pretenses after they go through the political stuff and talks to him about letting go of schemes. And she believes that he tricked her into marriage in order to banish her.
Okay.
And he's like, it was no trick. I genuinely want to be married to you.
Why would he trick you just to banish you?
Yeah. I mean, from her point of view, again, she tricked him into becoming king against his will and has been actively pulling his strings and ordering him around and keeping him in the dark for a while. So she thought it was revenge.
No. I mean, marrying someone to do that is a shit way to do that, though.
Yeah, he's very, like, insistent that, like, no, I want to be married to you. He admits that exiling her in the quick fashion that he did was to pacify the Undersea Queen, and he thought that Jude would see through his wordings and know to come back soon. And he just didn't realize from his place of power that getting back to the palace and proving that she is queen would be so difficult for her. And this is the point where Jude slaps him, because he's not even the one saying that. This is Jude trying to explain it, and he's not quite getting it, and Jude ends up slapping him, and that's when he literally starts figuring it out.
The man is just...
He's like,
He is just a man standing in the rain with a jukebox, but the window is closed and she's not home.
Yeah. Please do not slap your partners in real life.
No.
Even if they do something this fucked up. Though I hope if you're with people that do this stuff this fucked up, you're not actually with them. It works because this is a fictional setting.
Have you met the royal family of England?
No.
But have you heard about the royal family of England?
Yes.
They would do something this fucked up.
I'm aware. They would do something this fucked up. So you guys get the point. Please do not lay your hands on your partners, but he absolutely deserved to get slapped in this moment.
Honestly, if my husband just does something stupid, I'm just like, dude, you're an idiot.
Yeah. But he also wasn't grasping the fact that he, like, to him, Jude is the most powerful person in the world, so the idea of Jude just coming back and proving that she's the queen, he just figured she would do it.
Yeah.
That she would figure it out and do it. And she kind of was just in the human world, like, I can't do it because I'm a human, and people are going to kill me as soon as they see me.
He also is coming from an area of privilege, and does not understand that she does not come from an area of privilege.
Yes, and it again, her hitting him is kind of where he gets the idea.
Yeah.
She only slaps him once, by the way. It only happens once. They never do it again. So after the slap, they talk about their feelings and the past schemes and the things that they've done to each other, and come to an understanding that, like, there's something between them, but it's complicated, it's messy, and all in all, they like each other enough, And Cardan trusts Jude, but understands why she doesn't trust him.
You know, at least you're understanding it.
They agree to move forward and to just keep things moving for everybody's sake, for the entirety of their kingdom's sake. They're just like Cardan's like, I have feelings for you, you clearly have feelings for me, but we don't need to work on that right now because there's clearly a trust problem, and right now there is a looming war over our heads and we should be focusing on that, but let's at least know that these are things that we do need to talk about and we need to work through.
You see, Violet, it's not that fucking hard, bitch.
Yeah, and Jude is just like, okay, I agree. Like, let's keep things moving.
Like, it's nice that they wrapped it up and didn't extend it throughout an entire book where there was a literal war, and by God, was it annoying. I can't imagine what that is like.
It's still happening, like, actively. Like, there are some more character scenes here between her and him and things that happen that kind of push them towards things. But, like, a reminder that they haven't said I love you to each other yet.
Also, we don't have it confirmed if they actually, like, full-on sexed or not. Like, that was left up to the imagination.
It was confirmed that they didn't go all the way, that Jude definitely said on paper that the things they didn't do. She's thinking about the things that they did and the things that they did.
Yeah. So, like...
Which is kind of ambiguous, but...
But there's also... It also sounds like it doesn't extend for 600 pages.
True. And also, like, they very clearly focus on separating their... she focuses on separating preparing for the war and her feelings for him. He can balance both of those pretty well, all things considered. This man is a simp for his wife at this point.
That just reminds me of in J.M. Barrie's Peter and Wendy, because it's not called Peter Pan, it's called Peter and Wendy. He talks about how fairies are so small they can only have one emotion at a time.
Yes! That's the whole thing with Tinkerbell, isn't it?
Yeah. She can only have one emotion at a time. So I'm just imagining him just like, okay, I gotta focus on the war. Ooh, look, my wife. I gotta focus on the war. Oh, look, my wife.
Full honesty, though, like, he can focus on the war pretty well, but he does not waste a moment to just slip in a little something to flirt with his wife.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. Like, if he sees an opportunity, he just goes for it. So you're right. Fairies are too small. Even though he stands taller than Jude, and Jude is something like 5'6".
You know, he's just got fairy ADHD.
He does, yes. We get to the Living Council meeting. Jude goes over all the details possible, catches them all up on a few things. We're going to skip over that council meeting past the fact that it actually happened and all that, because it's not that important. Like, it's just there to establish, one, that the council is now recognizing Jude as the queen, and they're actually treating her with respect for fucking once, and also keeping things moving. So Cardan kicks everyone out of their bedroom because the Living Council decided to meet in their bedroom.
Why?
So that they couldn't escape. Yeah. So the meeting happens, Cardan kicks everyone out, and then right as everybody's leaving, Cardan's trying to have another conversation with Jude because he loves talking to his wife, only for the bomb to stroll in and be like, okay, it's time to take out Jude's stitches.
Man just wants to have a conversation, possibly sleep with his wife, and people keep interrupting him. My man's getting...
Okay, here's the fun fact.
My man's getting wife blocked.
Cardan, he is getting wife blocked. He is not sharing a bed with her at all. Even wholesomely, he is not sharing a bed with her at all.
Fair.
Which he is trying to have a conversation with her about that, but keeps getting interrupted. And this is actually going to be getting in Jude's head for a bit.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it does. Fun fact about this stitches being taken out scene. This is a fan favorite scene because Cardan's like, this is my bedroom. Don't kick me out of my bedroom to the bomb, when the bomb's like, get the fuck out. I'm going to take out her stitches. And that's when the bomb is like, no, I'm taking out her stitches. And Jude's like, I don't know. Maybe he wants to hear me scream. He goes, maybe someday, but not today. And then leaves.
See, that is at least, good flirting. It's kind of like that scene in Voice of the Ocean where he's like, if you need help undressing, you can always come and ask. Because he realizes she slept in her clothes and doesn't have another pair. Yep. Like...
Yep. See, this is good flirting.
Yeah.
Carden's a good flirt.
What were the quotes that we were looking at from Wrecked and making fun of them last night? Like, calling her pretty girl. Do you know what I call my dog? I call my dog a pretty girl. I don't call my husband a naughty boy. God, that's like Santa Claus porn.
I was thinking about this when I was walking around Barnes & Noble earlier, and I want to remind you that pet play is a normal thing that people engage in.
That's okay. It just doesn't get me going. You know?
Okay, valid.
Like, to be
Super
fair.
valid.
To be fair, if we're talking about that sort of shit, to me, it is the tone that my husband uses, the way he says it, not what he's saying. So, to be fair, I also forget what he says afterwards anyway, so.
Honestly, the most famous way that this line is taken is from the audiobook, where it is done very well.
Ooh. Oh, that's what I should do. I should get these on audiobook.
Yes, you should tell me how it sounds on audiobook, because I have only ever consumed the audiobook through TikTok shorts.
You can just get my Audible login.
Oh, that's true. I could get your Audible login. I'll hit you up. Fun fact, the chapter isn't over.
Wait,
the chapter actually ends.
Do they finally talk about sharing a bed? Because there's not one bed?
No, they do not. No, that's not happening yet. No. Actually, the chapter does end with him saying like that. But the next chapter is actively taking out the stitches when Asha's messenger shows up. Because Asha wants to have a chat with Jude, and Asha calls Jude to her quarters. I'm going to skip over this a little bit. Asha's trying to intimidate Jude and is ultimately failing at it because Asha doesn't want Jude.
How did she get in the palace?
She's been pardoned, and she's Carden's mom.
Oh, I forgot. That was his mom and not the adopted mom.
No, that's Oriana.
Oriana. There's so many names.
Fun fact. Asha and Oriana were consorts to the former High King at the same time. Ooh. Asha and Oriana did not get along.
Fair. Asha sounds like a bitch.
Mm-hmm. You know who Asha got along with? Jude's mom. Because Jude's mom had a penchant for wickedness.
That explains so much. She was literally married to Maddox.
Yeah. Notably, when somebody tells Jude that her mom had a penchant for wickedness, they said it as a compliment, and they made sure that Jude knew that it was a compliment.
That's a shitty-ass compliment, in my opinion, but, you know, fairies are fairies.
Yeah, fairies are fairies. And at the same time, they're like, fairies do like wickedness to a certain degree. Asha, and I had to look it up, Jude's mom's name is Eva. E-V-A. Eva? Eva.
Okay.
So, like, Asha and Eva got along really well. Take that as you will on how to feel about Eva. I mean, to be fair, she did kill somebody to avoid being lonely in her marriage to her military husband.
Just go get a vibrator.
Just go get a vibrator, yeah. Next day, Jude is summoned to the throne room. Turns out, Maddox sent the ghost to poison the Queen of the Undersea with something that does not kill her but makes her very weak. This leaves Nicasia very pissy. So pissy, mostly at Maddox, and willing to ally with Carden more than ever. But this also means that Nicasia has to leave to take care of her mother and secure the throne before blood in the water makes things go bad. Meanwhile, the council believes that Maddox will attack soon, and a lot of that is based off of Jude's information. None of them can agree how they will be attacked or how to defend from the attack. In the middle of the meeting, Taryn sends a messenger to ask for Jude to meet her, and Jude just is like, meeting's over, I gotta go meet my sister.
Okay.
For some reason, the meeting place is at Baelkin's old home. And also, Carden has decided to follow Jude.
Okay.
I have a personal opinion that the reason Carden is following Jude everywhere for a good chunk of this book is because he's trying to prove himself to Jude and trying to, like, get Jude to see his feelings without saying them for a while.
Yeah, and he probably also wants to make sure she's safe after she's been kidnapped and stabbed.
Yes. And honestly, I think the book kind of agrees with me. It's just, well, Taryn says it later in the book, that's what Carden's obviously doing, and Jude is just like, I don't know, he hasn't gone to bed with me yet. Like, we haven't shared a bed, I've been alone. No, notably, it's a single thought that she just doesn't believe that Carden wants to prove himself to her because of the whole betrayal thing and how they've had the past with each other.
You can love someone and not have sex with them.
Yeah, no, she doesn't want sex in this situation. She's just thinking about the fact that she has been sleeping alone and he has been sleeping somewhere else.
Okay.
Like, the man's still sleeping. She has no clue what bed he's sleeping in.
Got it. Hopefully he's not just, like, sitting in a corner watching her sleep. A la Edgar Allan
No, he is not. He is not. She has noted that she wakes up in an empty room. When they arrive to Baelkin's place, Carden and Jude trying to find Taryn. Taryn is in the dungeons with another. The door tells them this, by the way. I completely forgot to mention, in the first book, Baelkin's house has a sentient door.
There's a sentient door?
Yeah, dude, I skip so many fucking details that are so good. But yes, the door is sentient.
Okay, can I just say, I saw that there was a door erotica book. So, sentient doors, I don't know how to feel about.
No, I can't do, no. Why did you bring this back to me? My dad in D&D one time, no, not D&D, in, what is it, Realms of Darkness, was playing the most sexualized vampire female character ever, and the door was locked, and he decided to fuck the door until the door opened. And that cannot get out of my head, no matter what I do. Why did you bring this back?
To be fair, there's also a book that I was watching Read, Rant, Review talk about, where a woman is a pumpkin spice sexual and gets turned on by pumpkin spice lattes.
People
are bored.
I need humanity to take a step back for a second, preferably off the cliff into the ocean.
What? So the second you talked about a sentient door, that is what my mind went to, was these trashy erotica books with inanimate objects.
Okay.
Next thing you know, BookTok is going to be talking about a book where the book is sentient and she just fucks the book.
Can the book not turn into a person first, at least?
Neither does the pumpkin spice latte.
Oh, God. The book, fucking a book sounds like a way to get a paper cut in the wrong spot.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Moving on. The door tells them that Taryn is in the dungeons with another person. Turns out that other person is the ghost.
Okay.
So, after completing his mission from Madoc to do the whole thing to the Queen of the Undersea, he had more things that he had to do. So he actually ended up going after Jude and found Taryn instead walking through the palace halls, and he begged Taryn to tie him up since Madoc gave him many commands and he does not want to follow any of them.
And she ties him up and takes him to the dungeons.
Yes, and throws him into a pit in the dungeons. Notably, as he's answering questions, he manages to get out of his chains and starts climbing up the pit because of the whole true name has to follow orders thing. You know, he's not doing it because he wants to. He's doing it because he's been ordered to. And luckily, before he manages to get up to the top of the pit, Taryn uses his true name to order him to forget all orders except for her own.
Dope.
Taryn for the win. Yeah, because Taryn got his true name from being married to Locke. Yeah. Carden arranges for the ghosts to go into hiding with the roach and the bomb at their place. And then on the carriage ride back to the castle with Taryn, Carden tries to make conversation. So he's like, trying to make conversation with Taryn because, sister-in-law.
Yeah.
When the twins are alone later, this is when Taryn points out that Carden is trying to win Jude's heart and trying to prove that he cares, and Jude's, the last sentence is just Jude. She's like, I don't know, maybe, but I don't really believe it. But as she's going up, she reaches her bedroom and realizes that she's climbing into bed and he's not there and he's been sleeping somewhere else, and we already had this conversation.
Yeah.
She's trying not to let it get to her that he hasn't shared a bed with her since she was returned. And again, this is completely not about sex and completely about the fact that, they are on rocks.
Yeah. I get that.
Mm-hmm. So the next day, it is revealed that Madoc sent letters to every single one of the lower courts, summoning them to the palace to witness the confrontation. So skipping over more character interactions between all of the characters, even though I love these characters and I love these interactions are some of the best scenes in the book. They don't necessarily all move the plot along, other than just saying Jude and Carden are going closer. Taryn is having her redemption arc. Heather and Vivian are having their thing going on. We are going to get to Heather and Vivian. I included them in this, but like, again, like, their character stuff going on. We go to the last minute banquet that the servants threw together to welcome the guests. So we're having a last minute banquet. This is where we find out that Heather made a deal with Vivi. The deal between Heather and Vivi is that they are together as long as they are in the fairy realm, but once they return, Vivi is going to make Heather forget everything. And Heather is regretting making that deal.
Ah.
Mm-hmm. After the party, our leading couple finally share a bed for the first time in months. And the whole deal is that, like, Carden didn't want to share a bed with Jude until he knew that she had forgiven him.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, like, he's like, we are on rocks, you are not trusting me. I don't want to push you into an uncomfortable position by making you share a bed with me. Notably, this is when they start kissing, because she's just like, well, please come back, please. This is when they start kissing. They do partake in some devil's tango, which is not very descriptive, but still a very good scene. Now, we're going to get to everyone begins the plans for Maddox arriving. We're going to skip over more flowery stuff going on between Jude and Carden, but we are going to say that before they walk into the meeting, Carden has finally admitted his love for Jude. And then a little bit later, Jude admits her love for Carden. So we finally get them admitting that they love each other.
Cool.
Yay! Isn't this perfect? There's flowery, lovey-dovey stuff happening on page. And they're happy. Right before the war starts.
This is going to go so well.
Yeah.
You're way too excited about this.
I know. Okay, so Maddox has finally arrived. He starts at the outskirts. He's like, we're going to parlay. So his small party goes from the outskirts of where they're set up into the throne room to have the parlay before the war properly begins. In the throne room, the parlay is not going very well. Maddox is like, you can't defeat me, and then he unleashes a sword made by Grimson that can split the earth in two, and does so to intimidate Carden. This is when the throne splits in half. The throne is now ruined. Remember that prophecy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. This only intimidates the courtiers. Jude and Carden stand strong through this, and the conversation continues after that. Carden's kind of annoyed that people are like, people should not be following me because I'm wearing a crown. People should be following me because I am a king that is going to stand by them. And that is what you should be following somebody for. Your leader should be a king who is righteous and just. So he takes the crown off of his head and breaks it into pieces.
Like
the crown's broken. Yeah. Now, remember that the crown was magic?
Yes.
Now, what happens when a magic crown is destroyed? I hear you asking that question. I know you're not saying it out loud, but...
Isn't it like a magical reverb?
Well, the creator, Mr. Grimson himself, starts freaking out. He freaks the fuck out. Because he cursed it, so that whoever destroys it will turn into a giant snake monster that eats people.
That's dope! Let's go! Also, why the hell do you do that?
Yeah, so that his legacy would live on forever.
This man's a weirdo.
And Grimson actually says it's not just people. He will eat everything. The snake will swallow the land whole.
Yummy.
The gears have shifted significantly, haven't they? Everybody is looking
Does
to...
he eat Maddox?
Oh, I wish. He does eat. I think Grimson might get eaten in this situation right now.
He created this monster.
Yeah.
Literally.
There's a few side characters that we don't really like that get eaten in this sequence. Oak almost gets eaten in this sequence, by the way.
Not the poor baby kid.
Yeah, he got out, thankfully. So everybody's looking to Jude on how to stop snake form Carden from eating everything. First thing, get everyone out of the throne room and lock the door to the castle as a whole.
We'll just eat the doors.
He will eat the doors. He actually does get out pretty early on. Next, make Grima Mog the new Grand General.
Fair. Who the fuck is gonna mess with someone who will literally eat you?
Yeah. Notably, the general that was serving between Maddock and Grima Mog becoming, like between their thing, he's, I didn't mention him earlier, but he got eaten in this snake sequence. Then, start figuring out how to save Carden in spite of the prophecy from the prologue. Because at this point, Jude knows the prophecy.
Well, also, the prophecy's already, started going out in ways that, were not technically expected. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Now, next, start worrying about the fact that Snake Carden has escaped. Does not take him long to escape. Oh, and now Maddock is planning to attack at dawn in 2 days.
You're gonna fight a snake monster?
Mm-hmm. It does not last long. Maddock does change his mind pretty quick, but, again, everything is chaos, and Maddock was still planning war, but, he's gonna back up here in a second. Learn that people have already started spreading a rumor that the person who kills Snake Carden gets to rule the land.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. The biggest problem is that the magic of the crown still resides in Carden even after he is turned into a snake. So the land is still reacting to him. And this is a fast list, fun fact, because this is all within just over a chapter.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. It is a mess. This is what all the information we get in a quick mess. Before the battle, Maddock does take 2 steps back and is like, okay, can we actually have a conversation? So, this conversation actually goes somewhere, instead of the parley that we had earlier.
Who does he talk to?
Jude, the Court of Teeth, several of his family members, the whole family's there, including Oak.
Okay, but not Mr. Snake Man. He's still running around.
He's still doing Snake Man things, yes. He's still eating whatever he can get into his mouth.
Nom. Just shoving it in.
Yeah. Oh my god. Damn it, Thyme. Okay. So here are the agreements that have come to pass in this conversation. Oak is to be wed to the daughter queen from the Court of Teeth, the one that we talked about earlier. So he's now properly engaged instead of pseudo-engaged.
But that poor girl.
In exchange. The poor girl, yes. Fun fact, she no longer has the golden brittle on her.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, because the Court of Teeth gives it to Jude.
Excuse me?
The plan is that Jude will use it on Snake Carden to get control over him and turn him docile.
Okay. Because
Grimson says there's nothing that can fix Carden at this point.
Lies.
That's what he said, I think before he died. Yeah, there is a way. But, Grimson doesn't actually know how.
You created the curse, my dude.
He didn't think it would work. It would happen.
Idiot.
I know. He is an idiot. After that, they will make Oak and the daughter queen from the Court of Teeth the new rulers of the land. Jude is aware that there's clearly a trick here somewhere.
Yes.
But she doesn't know what it is. She's like, the Court of Teeth are not going to let this go as easily as it is. So either way, this is her best plan that she has, and it doesn't involve killing Carden. So she is like, okay, I agree. But in her mind, something's not right here. Now, they prepare to set this plan in motion, which means moving the battle between each other to figuring out how to trap Snake Carden and do all that. So as they prepare for these changes, Jude sends a message to Nicasia asking for help. Literally saying, if you've ever loved him, help now. Nicasia shows up earlier than when I mentioned that she shows up in this entire next bit, but other people don't know Nicasia shows up. But Nicasia and Jude will have a cute little moment where they, sorry about everything that's happened. I respect you now.
Yeah.
There are more character moments between the siblings. Jude uses her magic of the land to heal Roach. She figures out how to use magic because she's the High Queen now. So she's not magical, but she does know how to use magic involving the land.
Okay.
The same magic that Carden got from wearing the crown.
Yeah.
So she's learning it. She's not as powerful as Carden, but she can do more healy things, whereas he can do more offensive things. Ignore the gender roles right there.
Yeah, I was gonna
We're
say.
just gonna accept it.
That's...
Yeah. She doesn't need more things to make her a badass.
No.
This is the woman who has been poisoning herself, well, was poisoning herself for long periods of time to build up a poison immunity. This is the woman who's murdered multiple people. She does not need more offensive skills.
That's fair. That is fair. Also, I feel like he could probably use more offensive skills.
Yes, honestly, I consider this a power balance between the two of them.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and also a reminder, she's still the more powerful between them.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's not like he's forcing her into a role either. Like, he wants them to be equals.
Yes.
And let's be real here, he's simping hardcore, and I don't think she would have the same.
Yeah. She's kind of simping after a certain point. They're really cute in the novella that happens from Carden's point of view, where part of the novella is after all of this happens.
But, like, at the moment, he's simping more than she is.
Oh, absolutely. Jude then visits the last person who employed Grimson before he came back to court, which, fun fact, is a character from another hollyblack book from the darkest part of the forest, because Grimson shows up in that book. This is how she figures out what the trick is when she goes to them. And I'm saying the last person he was employed by. This is also including a hag that showed up, that's like a reoccurring character throughout the books, but like, I didn't mention her, so we're gonna ignore that. They lied to her about how the golden brittle works specifically. They told her that she needed to wrap a piece of her hair around the golden brittle before she puts it on Carden to make it so that she alone controls Carden. What that actually does is that it binds her to them. The golden brittle will always act on them, and so their plan was to make both her and Snake Carden do their bidding.
Yeah, because then they have control over the current rulers.
Yes. So that's where the trick is. So now she knows not to put her hair in the golden brittle. And there's more subplots that are getting closed up, like how the roach and the bomb love each other, and they're being cute. But a few other ones. So even hollyblack comments that there's a little bit of slowdown here because she's wrapping up those subplots. So let's just get straight into the battle, because getting close to a snake monster is not as simple as it seems. No. Like, some of these knights are going to die to Carden eating them. So during this battle, Jude is thinking about how awful it'll be for Carden to live as a monster in the brittle. She's thinking about how earlier he told her in the book that he trusts her to end him should he turn into a monstrous king, which, by the way, that's when he told her about the prophecy. She also thinks about the curse and Carden's prophecy at birth, and at that point she chooses love over power and security and slices Snake Carden's head off.
Which is how he becomes himself again, because it talked about bloodshed.
Yes. So she's beheaded her husband out of love.
Imagine that excuse in a courtroom.
Right? This is when the Court of Teeth instantly turns on everybody. And remember Nicasia earlier? Nicasia comes out of the ocean and helps them in this moment. So the Court of Teeth are very easily wiped out. For the note, it is just the daughter queen and the mother left, and also Maddock is alive.
Rude.
Fun fact, in this scene, I was trying to figure out how to put it in the notes, and since we are only an hour and a half into recording, I feel comfortable saying it. In this moment, after Jude slices off Carden's head, she falls to the floor and starts weeping as the battle rages on around her. Maddock stands over her and tells her to get up, and she's like, I'm not fighting you right now. This is not the moment for us to fight. And he's like, no, get up and turn around. So she turns around just in time to see Carden, bloody and naked, walking out of the body where she cut off his head. Yeah, he's whole of body, no clothes on, absolutely covered in blood, walking out of this giant snake's dead body.
Is he at all curious why the fuck he's naked and covered in blood? And why there's a giant snake head?
Oh, no. No, he's kind of superpowered right now, actually. When he walks on the land crackles and breaks under his feet.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. proving that he is still king and that he still has the power of the land and that he is still doing his thing.
So they don't...
Because they didn't know...
They don't need the crown.
Yeah, they didn't know if he would still, like when saving him, they didn't know if that magic power was still existent. And Jude knew that she still had the magic power from saving the roach, but she didn't know if that was because she was married to the king when the king got turned into a snake, or if that was because he's still the king of the land with the powers that he had, and the marriage still binds them.
Yeah.
So her healing the roach did a double thing of saving the roach and also proving that Cardan would still be king with his powers when he came out.
So, how do they pass it the powers now?
They're gonna, in assumption, because they don't actually know, they're going to just do the same rituals they were doing before, because a lot of it was just words.
Yeah.
And then make the motions.
Okay.
And hope for the best.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry, there are still 20 pages left after this.
Okay.
So, Cardan orders the arrest of Madoc, and then goes to his destroyed throne room. There, he uses his powers to control the dirt, because a reminder that the palace is a giant dirt mound.
Yes.
To create 2 side-by-side thrones for him and Jude.
Oh.
Which, since we have time, I like this significantly better than making what's-her-name sit on the throne at the end of whatever book it was by Sarah J. Maas.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they are 2 identical thrones sitting next to each other. That's how you do it.
The Sarah J. Maas one is also like a, oh, look, girl power book, you know? Mm-hmm. When, in actuality...
This one's definitely a quality.
Yeah, like, in this one, number one, he's not a fucking asshole.
He is.
I mean, he is an asshole, but, like, when they're, like, actually, you know, together, he's not being a fucking dick to her, and he's clearly respecting her. Whereas Reese always, I don't know, like, you want to like him because the main character likes him, basically, but she's really dumb. And it is constantly not realizing that the men around her are still making decisions for her.
Yes, versus Jude, who acknowledges when people are making decisions for her and hates it.
Yeah, like, Feyre constantly thinks that she is the one in control when she's not.
Mm-hmm. This is such a fun conversation, because remember the encampment scene earlier?
Yeah.
Jude has an entire internal thought process about how she's not used to being under Maddox's control again, and how she had forgotten from her months of A, being in control of Cardan, and B, being in exile, what it was like to be controlled. Mm. Like, this book, again, there's so many things that I don't include in this.
Yeah.
They're just so good. And again, I thought that this episode would be longer by this point, so I didn't include a lot of them.
Yeah, you always you never know how long it's actually going to be.
Yeah, it's, even with our, like, scripts being however long they are, it's so hard for us to figure out how long we're actually going to talk. Because a lot of this is us having conversations about what's happening.
Yeah, like, I thought the 4th ring one was going to be so much longer than it was, because I had 11 pages.
Yeah, but you get through them fast, and there's not much to talk about other than me screaming in pillows.
Yeah.
And not the good way.
No, the real question is, is Cardan's dick size 2 inches long, like Xaden's?
I'm assuming not. But I'm also not going to think about that. I don't know. In the sex scene that's not very descriptive, we do know that Jude rides Cardan. Ooh. So, yeah. Also, that, like, not very descriptive sex scene is really good for showing how much Cardan wants Jude to be, like, do what she wants. But I'm also not going to talk too much about a non-descriptive sex scene.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So, after he rebuilds the throne, he goes back to his room. And people are following him there. Like, he has an entourage. And Jude...
Is he still naked?
...doesn't really want... Yes. He is still naked and covered in blood.
Man needs a shower.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to his room to clean up, and his entourage is there to, like, watch as the new king does his thing. Because he's the same old king, but, you know, this is impressive.
Man survived being a giant snake monster, so yeah. That's way more impressive than, like, disappearing from a cave after 3 days and showing up and being like, hey guys, look, I got some holes in my hands. Woohoo.
So Jude wants to change out of her armor, but really does not want to be seen by the courtiers. So she actually goes to her old room from when she was a seneschal to change out of her armor and runs into Heather.
Ooh.
Heather has made a new deal with Vivi, one created by Heather herself. After Vivi makes Heather forget everything, Vivi has to go on a quest to meet Heather all over again, tell her the truth about fairies from the get-go, and make them fall in love again. Should Vivi succeed, Heather will get all of her memories back.
Fair.
Yeah. And also, like, subtle talking about, like, how Vivi can no longer control Heather once all that happens.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, before all that happens, actually. Like, yeah. You get the idea.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you don't want to be able to have your partner control you. You want to be able to do your own things. And that's just the bottom line.
And Vivi got used to not wanting to do it, but being an older sister and doing it anyways. Stopping Jude and Taryn when they're doing stupid shit by glamoring them on instinct. And that's why she glamored Heather on instinct in the previous book. And so, like, Heather already is like, we're never doing that again.
No, fair. And I mean, the entire point was she was having a valid emotional reaction to having her features turned into a fucking cat. Like...
Yeah.
Hello.
And, you know, being scared about the fact that she is a target in the fairy... Which, she's not a target anymore. She is now an in-law to the crown. Yeah. So she's safe now.
Like, I feel like the first order of business is to be like, hey, yeah, fairies and humans are to be treated as equals. Just saying.
Actually, it's really interesting. I think I have it here. I do have it in my notes. That the fairies are starting to treat humans better, as well as bring out one of the ways that fairies get humans, not just like human servants, but like humans in their family. And also, like, yeah, there's two ways that humans often are related to fairies. One, they are married to fairies, and part of that is to, you know, get more fairies, because humans and fairies have a higher chance of making kids than fairies, and human fairy offspring function the same way fairies do. But the other way is that, you know, the whole changeling myth?
Yes.
I didn't talk about this earlier, but they do talk about changelings a lot, but at the same time they don't go into super detail. It is because the modern fairy tale series is following an actual changeling who is a fairy who's been raised as a human. And fun fact, the darkest part of the forest, another part of this universe, also has a changeling situation in the book. So, like, we don't need to talk too much about changelings in this series, but they exist very prevalently. What changelings are is a lot of changelings are at the same case as the Court of Teeth's daughter, you know, trying to avoid oaths by making them be raised by humans instead of fairies, because a lot of oaths are like people who we raise, not people who we give birth to. So the humans who have been switched with changelings at birth are often still raised by fairies, and the idea is sometimes is that they're still their children, but they're there as collateral, or they're there as they're there either as collateral, as an extra servant, as a person to get them married to somebody else, you know, alliance pins and stuff like that. Or, you know, they just get eaten.
Fair.
They could also just be eaten by the fairies. It depends on the fairy house and the fairy court.
Yeah. That's fair. Mm-hmm. So, do the changeling babies ever figure out that they're not humans and come back?
Yes.
Okay.
Apparently that's what happens in the modern fairy tale series. But I haven't read it yet. I just bought it.
Nice.
So.
There's an interesting thing in D&D with changelings is that they can change their features, but the more version of changelings, really, it doesn't happen as babies. But basically, a doppelganger will kill someone, take on everything about them, after basically stalking them for a while.
That sucks. Holy shit.
Yeah. They stalk them so they know how to impersonate them perfectly.
That's terrifying.
And I know this because Dalton used that in one of his campaigns.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. See, I like our changeling character from She-Ra, the new reboot She-Ra, which I know you haven't watched, but their name is Double Trouble. We love them. We love them so much. They just look at a person and can tell what their emotional state is enough to be able to, like, really closely pretend to be them. That being said, there's still some interesting moments, like when Double Trouble pretends to be Scorpia. They try to flirt with Catra because they know that Scorpia has feelings for Catra, and the way that they flirt with Catra gets them caught, basically.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, and I Googled this a little bit, is that a lot of historians believe that the changeling myth actually stems from autistic children.
Yes, it was an excuse to kill autistic children.
Yeah, which is so fucked up.
It is.
I mean, one of the big things is, if I remember correctly, babies, especially autistic kids, they stim, which can be seen as weird. And then there's also, I believe, autistic kids are usually more colicky. And I was a really colicky baby. I also constantly had ear infections. So there's that.
What does colicky mean?
Fuzzy. They cry a lot.
Okay.
My nephew was a really colicky baby too, but I don't believe he's been diagnosed. But his father was diagnosed with Asperger's, which is no longer used and is now part of the autism spectrum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, all fairies are just kind of autism coded.
Oh, they really are.
Yeah.
Especially
but right down to not being able to have salt, by the way. Salt makes because picky eaters.
That's hilarious because I love salt.
I love salt too, dude.
But then again, picky eaters is just whichever food it is. I mean, God, I remember as a kid, one of my biggest foods that I hated was peas. And my dad tried so hard to get me to eat peas. I was one of those kids that was forced to sit at a table until you ate everything on your plate.
Gross.
Yeah. You want to give your kid an eating disorder? There you go. But my dad, because of how my brain worked, he told me that they taste like cotton candy because to him they taste like candy. So me eating them, because a lot of peas can be really sweet, kind of like carrots.
Oh.
So to me eating them, I went, bitch, no they don't, and immediately hated them.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
But yeah, it's really interesting how folklore has not only shaped how we view literature, but also how much of it can be based on things that they didn't have ways to explain back in the day. So they just came up with reasons.
Yeah. That's kind of how it starts. Unfortunately, it also means that people die, but yeah. I know people who don't want to talk about fairies whatsoever because of the changeling myth being used to kill autistic children.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say, like, we can acknowledge the horrors of history without repeating them and enjoying stories.
If we're not willing to talk about the horrors of history, we're just going to repeat them.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the big things that you have to learn in psychology classes is the history of psychology, including where things went wrong.
Hello, Sigmund Freud.
Yeah. But one of the more interesting things is back when things were privatized but not in control of the government, people with mental health issues would go to these little hospital things, and they were treated really well, actually, because the family would pay for this person to be there and be taken care of. However, people caught on to that, and then they were like, I don't know if it was state or federal, but that's when psych wards were a big thing. And a lot of times, everyone knows the horrors of psych wards and what happened in psych wards, I hope.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
They did absolutely terrible things to people in psych wards in the name of science, in the name of just being a shitty human being,
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things where a lot of horrible things started with good intentions. And we need to acknowledge when we went wrong with things so that we don't repeat them.
Yeah. And we can also just appreciate a good story without having to ruin it by saying, oh, but like, anyways.
That too. I mean, and that's the thing. I feel like so many people don't realize that fairies are based off of autism coding things.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, I am so tired of reading characters that are autism coded. That's another thing I'm having an issue with in Enigma. The main character is very autism coded, and it pisses me off. And please stop.
I hate that too for you. I guess we just need more plant monster autism code characters.
Yes, I mean, considering a lot of people with autism, mind you, this is not everyone. It is a huge spectrum. A lot of times they don't feel human. They don't, and part of that is also we're ostracized.
Yeah.
I mean, Uncanny Valley exists for a reason. I have many theories on why, but another big thing with that is even at young ages, people will realize there's something different about kids with autism and ostracize them horribly.
Yes. Honestly, you can probably just throw autistic adults at 6-year-old girls and get a diagnosis that way. It's easier.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the other things is a lot of times people with autism are more drawn to other people with autism or other neurodivergencies.
Yeah.
My husband's dad was diagnosed as an adult, but the problem is, even if my husband is neurodivergent, he will likely never get diagnosed because if you have a parent with autism, you usually will pick up autistic traits, even if you're not autistic. And he moved around so often that his socializing just dropped off. So him being able to be like, oh yeah, I just had trouble making friends and stuff. Well, he moved constantly. It's a bit different.
Yeah.
Like
it's yeah.
And I had a friend where I fully believe that, and I don't know why, I think TikTok influenced them to thinking they had things that they didn't.
Yeah, TikTok's good at that.
I don't like saying that because I never want to discourage someone who is going through self-diagnoses, because a lot of times they are very accurate. But
yeah,
the other thing is they looked at me one day after I said, well, not everyone in this room is actually neurodivergent, because they said, oh, all of us are. And I'm like, no, my husband's not. Like, hello.
Oh no. Train wreck.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where I've also never liked getting into confrontations with them. But after doing some research, after talking to one of my friends, I have theories. I don't want to share them online, though. Because I don't know if they're secretly stalking my podcast.
Valid. Oh, I know which. It's that person.
Yes, it's that one.
It's that person.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
All right.
If they are.
Moving back to the story. There's less than 20 pages left.
We went on a tangent thanks to changelings.
Yeah. So Jude takes a bath to get ready for the celebration banquet, and fun fact, the meal is made from the body of the serpent Carden once was.
Isn't that a bit odd choice wise?
Is it auto cannibalism if Carden eats it?
I don't know. Because technically, he was the snake monster, but now he's not the snake monster.
Yeah. And he was only the snake monster for 3 days.
Well, and I guess it's, ceremonial, in a way.
Yeah, in a way.
But
I'm sure it tastes great.
That's still weird. I don't know. Hold on. Let me see if Dalton's ever eaten snake. Dalton! Have you ever eaten snake? He says he can't remember. He's eaten alligator.
I know people eat snake.
Hold on, what does snake taste like?
I don't know, but I know that people eat them. Like, there's this place in China where people eat snakes and then turn the snake skin into, like, goods to sell overseas.
Oh, okay. So it says it tastes similar to chicken, but with a tougher, chewier, or fish-like texture, and some minor gamey flavor.
Interesting.
So yeah, it probably did taste good. I wonder how they seasoned it.
Me too. I'm sure they didn't season it with salt.
I mean, I guess way to make sure that you're not wasting anything, because otherwise it's just going to, like, rot, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Waste, want, not.
Yeah.
So, Jude and Carden dance, and you remember when I said that they were super flowery and cute earlier, and they admitted their love for each other? Only Carden admitted his love for Jude.
Oh.
In that. I'm sorry. It wasn't even in my notes that they admitted it to each other, just that Carden did, and I, for some reason, said both. This is when Jude finally admits that she loves Carden. And fun fact, he doesn't believe her at first. He's like, you don't need to say things to placate me. It's okay, we don't need love, just know that I love you. And she finally just, like, goes through into this long thing about how she loves him and how her love has grown for him, and then he finally believes it, and it's very, very cute.
I just imagine being someone dancing next to them on the dance floor.
Mm-hmm. Well, everybody's kind of watching them dance, because they're having the first dance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that is cute.
It is. So now it's epilogue time.
I bet it was really nicely worded, too.
Yeah, it was. I'm not as eloquent as Hollyblack. Maybe someday, but not right now.
That's fair. I mean, that was one of the things that I had to think about, was how to have Killian admit his love for the main character. Yeah. I didn't want it to be crazy, flowery, poetic, like is in a fuck ton of books.
Mm-hmm. See, I love Carden's admitting of his love for Jude, because he just says it really fast. Not really fast. He says it with something else and then walks into a room before she can respond.
That's fucking funny. That's like the first kiss Dalton ever gave me. It was before we started dating, actually. It was like a week after we met. Yes, I know, scandalous. I made out with my husband and accidentally gave him blue balls the week after we met. He was also scared of giving me his phone number.
Aww.
But
golden retriever.
Yeah, he gave me like this really quick peck because he was like really anxious about doing it, and I just look at him and I go, "You call that a kiss?" That's what that's reminding me of. This man's just like, "I love you, run."
I love you, walk into the meeting. Okay, actually, no, I have to grab this.
Oh my god, you're gonna read it. You're just like, I have to read this to you.
Yeah, I have to read both of these to you now.
Okay.
Then she goes to, and it is Carden and me, alone for a moment. Maddox says, "You will duel for love," I say. "Whose?" he asks, frowning. "There is no banquet too abundant for a starving man," I shake my head. That's an internal thought that she thinks. "It's you I love," he says. I spent much of my life guarding my heart. I guarded it so well that I could behave as though I didn't have one at all. Even now, it is a shabby, worm-eaten and scabrous thing. I can't say that word. Please forgive me. But it is yours. He walks to the door of the royal chambers, as though to end the conversation. "You probably guessed as much," he says, "but in case you didn't." He opens the door to prevent me from responding. Abruptly, we are no longer alone. Fanned and the rest of our guards stand ready in the hall, with the living council waiting impatiently beside them. I can't believe he said that and then just walked out, leaving me reeling. I'm going to strangle him.
I also love how our man was just like, "You probably already knew that I love you, but in case you didn't," he's like, "Yeah, he's like, I fully believe that she already knows and just does not reciprocate, obviously."
Yeah. Okay, and then to go to hers. Also, part of the reason I mentioned that the meat is made from the serpent that Carden once was is that she literally has an annotation that nobody talks about that, and she really wants people to talk about the fact that she did that.
I mean, I would fucking talk about it. You know, there's a cannibal question, but there's also a cannibal theory in this world. So,
yeah, is it auto-cannibalism? Possibly.
We should start a Reddit thread.
Okay, all right. Jude's love convention is going to be longer, so please bear with me.
Okay.
"I don't know what to apologize for first," I say. "Cutting off your head or hesitating so long to do it? I didn't want to lose..." Yeah. "I didn't want to lose what little there was left of you. And I can't quite think past how wondrous it was that you're alive. It is that you're alive. You don't know how long I've waited to hear those words," he says. "You don't want me dead." "If you joke about this, I'm going to kill me?" he asks, raising both black brows. I think I might hate him after all.
In the middle of her love confession, I think I might actually hate him. Fuck this.
Mm-hmm. Reminder that when they had that really good fade to black scene in the second book, the thing that he asks her to repeat over and over again while they're doing that is her saying, "I hate you" to him.
You know, I've heard about hate sex before.
Mm-hmm. Then Carden takes my hands and he pulls me away from the other dancers towards a secret chamber he showed me before, behind the days. It is as I remembered it. This is where they did things. Okay, we're going to skip forward. They didn't do things in this scene, but this is the scene where they did things that we just mentioned, where he made her say, I hate you over it. Yeah. I only know how to be cruel or how to laugh when I am discomposed, he says, and sits down on the couch. I let go of him and remain standing. I promised myself I would do this. If I ever had a chance again, I promised I would do this the first moment I could. I love you, I say, the words tumbling out in an unintelligible rush. I'm sorry, guys. I'm dyslexic. Normally I do better at this, but reading out loud just kind of kills me. Carden looks taken back. Or possibly, I spoke so fast I spoke so fast, he's not even sure what I said. You need not say it out of pity. I have asked you to lie to me in the past, in this very room, but I would beg you not to lie now. My cheeks heat at the memory of those lies. I have not made myself easy to love, he says, and I hear the echo of his mother's words in his. When I imagined telling him, I thought I would say the words and be like pulling off a bandage, painful and swift. But I didn't think he would doubt me. I first started liking you when we went to talk to the rulers of the low courts, I say. This happened in book 1, at the end of book 1, right after she put him under the order spell. You were funny, which was weird. And when we went to Hollow Hall, Baelkin's residence, you were clever. I kept remembering how you'd been the one to get us out of the burr after Dane's coronation, right before I put that knife to your throat. Hey, there's that throat knife that I didn't tell you about earlier. He doesn't try to interrupt me, so I have no choice but to barrel on. After I tricked you into being the High King, I say, I thought once you hated me, I could go back to hating you, but I didn't, and I felt so stupid. I thought I would get my heart broken. I thought it was weakness that you would use against me. But then you saved me from the undersea, when it would have been so much more convenient to just leave me to rot. After that, I started to hope my feelings were returned. But then there was the exile. I take a ragged breath. I hid a lot, I guess. I thought if I let myself love you, I would burn up like a match. Like the whole matchbook. But now you've explained it, he says. And you do love me. I love you, I confirm. Because I am clever and funny, he says, smiling. You didn't mention my handsomeness or your deliciousness, although those are both good qualities.
Man is like, you forgot these.
Yeah. And then they talk a little bit more. We're going to skip that.
We love a sassy bitch.
Yes. Again, presence, as we've mentioned before. There's more cute stuff there, but you're going to have to consume the book yourself. You're not getting me to read the whole thing to you.
Aw.
Yeah. Yep. But that's the end of the last chapter before the epilogue.
So, does Maddox actually go to prison?
Yes! That's actually in the epilogue.
Should have gone to prison after the second book? Or was it the first book?
Mm-hmm.
First book.
Honestly, after the first book, yeah.
Yeah.
When he killed people in a coup. Anyways, so the epilogue is split into 2 parts. The main part that we're going to go over, because the second part, while it's cute and great and I love it, the first part is what's important. First of all, it is Queen Jude's proper coronation. So we're getting a coronation party and, the whole pizzazz. And the fairies, again, they're treating humans with favor. They have brought their favorite humans to the ball to win Jude's favor.
Yeah, I mean, you now have a human that is literally your queen. If you're not at least gonna, treat your humans better, she might have some words.
Yeah. Notably, this is a thing that they're doing at the ball, but there is the spinoff of Oak's Tale that shows that not all of them are doing this, just or some of them are doing it just in front of Jude, and Jude has picked up that people are doing it by that time.
That's fair.
But in this moment right now, they're trying to curry favor with her.
Yeah, they're not going to turn around immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the same thing happened with slavery.
Yeah, true. I mean, we had Jim Crow laws, and now the entire prison complex is just dedicated to keeping slavery alive at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Literally, like, crazy shit. So, the thing about being royalty is that when you have parties, when you do things, petitioners are going to come up. Remember the petitioners from the beginning of the second book? Let's get some more petitioners in here. And notably, Cardan says that Jude will make all of the choices on these petitions as it is her coronation. So he doesn't make a single decision in this. Everything is Jude's choice.
Ooh, we love this.
I know, right? We love a man who loves his wife. Okay, so first we get the Ghost, who is pardoned, and all of the other spies that have worked with him get boons.
That's fair. He was literally basically under mind control.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it was not his decision.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It was not his decision at all. He had to do whatever the person who has his true name does. By the way, nobody knows Cardan's true name because his true name died with the former king.
Ah. Not even Cardan?
Yeah. Not even Cardan knows his true name.
Interesting.
Yeah. After we hear the Ghost, we have the knights who fought for Madoc. Because, you know, we have to address that.
Yeah.
They are given the choice to atone through new vows or service or whatever the fuck they decide, or be turned into falcons that cannot hurt anything and must survive off of kindness.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Which is an it's... I was reading this the first time and thinking, that's a good way to handle them. And then we get to see one of them in the Oak spin-off, and we get to learn how fucked it actually was.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Now, we get the deal with the Court of Teeth, because remember that there's, like, 2 survivors of the Court of Teeth. The Daughter Queen and her mother. So, the Daughter Queen swears fealty to the crown. She's like, I will serve Jude and Cardan. But her mother is forced by Jude to swear fealty to the daughter.
We love this.
Mm-hmm. And now the Court of Teeth is therefore disbanded, and their land has been taken back by the crown.
Yeah, kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it just logically works that way. This is what leads into the spin-off with Oak. Now we have Madoc. Madoc is last. He is to be exiled to the human realm after swearing to forget his name and his identity and swearing fealty to the crown. So first he has to forget his name, first he has to forget his identity, then he has to swear fealty to the crown, then he's exiled to the human realm. Fun fact, Jude at this moment says, "Farewell, father," as he is escorted to the human realm.
So he knows that that's his daughter, basically.
Yeah.
But he does not know anything else.
Yep.
Interesting.
We get more insight to that in Oak's spinoff again.
You might have to read the spinoff after all. Because there's a lot in that spinoff, apparently.
There's a lot, but also not necessary for this story.
Yeah, fair.
Also, this story is better than Oak's spinoff, but I will defend Oak's spinoff by a lot of people walked into Oak's spinoff thinking they were getting more Jude and Cardan when it is Oak and Ren's story.
Yeah, you can't expect that when it's literally about someone else.
Yeah. Don't expect an enemies to lovers in that situation. Don't expect the craziness that happens. But I will admit, the vibes for the Cruel Prince are significantly better than the vibes in Oak's spinoff. And I'm calling it Oak's spinoff. It's not actually Oak's spinoff. It's Ren's spinoff. The Daughter Queen that I've been mentioning, her name is Ren.
Yeah.
Her full name is Suren. Like Suren. Suren.
Interesting.
But she goes by Wren.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Again, she wasn't terribly necessary in this book, past, being a plot character. But, it's actually her story in the spinoff. The first book of the spinoff is from her perspective, and the second book is from Oak's perspective. Which I have a lot of feelings about, and I think it was a good choice. And an interesting choice at the same time. But this isn't about that.
Comment down below if you want something to be about that.
Yeah, do you want another little, thing about those 2 books? I can do it. Also, comment down below if you want the novellas, because I will also do the novellas for you guys. I will figure out how to get the ebook for the sisters, and we can also go over the letters too, which I think actually I might have access to the ebook for free with my newsletter subscription to Hollyblack.
You might.
But I have to double check that.
And if not, I can always get the ebook and you can send it to your Kindle.
$3.
Oh, cool.
It's $3. I can get it. Yeah.
Cool. I guess it's on her website.
Yeah. I'll figure it out. I saw that it was on my Kindle, a $3 purchase. So.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Second part of the epilogue, because it's technically one epilogue, but it's got a sudden split there at the end. After the coronation, the twins and Carden help Vivi and Oak move into a new place in the human realm because they were living at Heather's place before. Even after Heather left Vivian for a little bit, it was technically her place with her name on the lease.
Okay.
Yeah. So now Vivi and Oak are moving into a new place in the human realm. They are being helped move in by the twins and Carden, and they have a little party afterward and teach Carden some things about the human world. And that's the end of the story.
That's nice. Yeah.
How you feeling?
Pretty good. I mean, I don't have too many questions since I, asked them during the thing.
Yeah.
I think my biggest thing is, this definitely is a true enemies to lovers thing. It's not like most that are enemies to lovers, where it's actually mild inconvenience at best to lovers.
Yeah.
Even Voice of the Ocean is advertised as enemies to lovers, and
what?
Yeah, that one's a little bit better than some of the other ones, but it's not like they're like complete enemies.
And like, these are complete enemies to lovers. They tried to kill each other. This is real enemies to lovers. Enemies to lovers in its truest form is super fucking hard.
Yeah, because you have to get them from I either want to murder you or I absolutely hate you. Like, I think one of the only ones I can think of that's a little bit more enemies to lovers style without, murder and shit involved would be like Pride and Prejudice. Because bitch hates Darcy. She hates Darcy so much. Like,
true. And to be fair to the fact that, like, we're oftentimes saying, like, oh, it's not true enemies to lovers because they don't hate each other, but they're, like, annoyed with attraction. Jude and Carden were attracted to each other before they started trying to kill each other.
Oh, yeah.
But societal things are what made them try to kill each other. Prejudices and stuff.
Yeah. It's not like in Fourth Wing. They were not really enemies. Like, yeah, he probably didn't want her to live at first, but there was nothing. There was her objectifying him on sight. Him apparently pitched in a tent just from her being in a room.
2-inch tent.
Honestly, it would have been a lot more interesting if Imogen was the love interest, because Imogen was willing to just throw hands. She was willing to kill her.
Hell yeah.
Like,
I want Violet to end up with somebody else, just, like, one, because it would be so fun to see that happen.
It would, especially with all the merch being her and Xaden.
True. 2, because they have such a focus in that book series about not confusing love and sex, and these two characters have absolutely confused love and sex, and I want to see that entire focus have an actual payoff.
Yeah. Like, when I think about this book, and we're doing a lot of Fourth Wing comparisons, because I was just reading that. Like, we did the first 2 books of this series, the first 2 books of that series. I still need to read Onyx Storm, which apparently is a trash fire.
Great.
You know what? I bet it's better than Enigma, though. I'm gonna throw shade at Runic so hard. But there's, like, at least you, and mind you, when I say you, I mean mostly you. I have not read these books. I do want to read them to see what I would think of them. But it sounds like, Jude is not just a stupid character in this that is supposed to be the smartest character ever. It sounds like these 2 characters actually do love each other once, they're willing to actually love each other. And that's the big thing is I am not convinced that Violet loves Aiden.
Oh no, not all. I love Holly Black. I think she's a wonderful writer. And I think she's done such a good job on their relationship.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, like, when the snake thing happened, I was not ready for it.
I was not expecting Snake Thing either.
Yeah, and there's an annotation in this book where when she told one of her friends that she wanted to turn Carden into a snake, and that friend kept like asking her how she thought she could pull that off, and was very happy when she showed that friend how to do that, and he was happy.
What happens to the second crown that was being made?
It never was finished.
Oh, okay. It was never finished. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Unless I'm missing something from the Oak point of view, which I think I might be. Might have to go reread that one. Because there's like a lot of stuff about the fallout that came from Maddox's coup that wasn't fully explored because obviously even though it just happened, it can't be swept under the rug that it happened.
No.
So there's more fallout from there. And I know that like there are some things I don't quite remember from Oak's point of view because I read those books fast. I didn't give those books nearly as much time as I'm giving these, but that's because I gave myself a time limit to read those books going through a certain point in my life. So I'll have to reread them and make sure that I'm not missing something there.
Okay. Because, yeah, I think that's one of the more interesting things that's going to happen is they're going to have to deal with the fallout.
Yeah. And from my understanding, and Holly Black has announced that she is working on a sequel series, a proper sequel series to The Cruel Prince from Carden's perspective, and it will be happening post everything that happened in this book. I'm pretty sure post like Oak things, but I can't guarantee post Oak things.
That'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It'll also be really fun to see how she writes Jude versus Carden.
Well, we know how she writes Jude versus Carden because Carden has a novella.
Oh, he has a novella.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the novella is a non-linear story though.
Okay.
And we can include that. Like when I say the novellas, and we can do an episode on the novellas. We can do an episode on both of the novellas attached here, probably individually. Like, I have no problem doing that. Comment below if you want that.
All I'm thinking about now is how Stephanie Meyer wrote Twilight from Edward's perspective in Midnight Sun, and it just made everything so much worse.
It's interesting because I read the novella a little bit ago before I read these annotated versions, and Holly Black's annotations, like, some of them weren't needed. Like when she's saying, like, Carden's realizing in this moment that he doesn't actually want to see her hurt. Carden's realizing that it's not as fun seeing her almost die in this moment. And, like, I didn't need those annotations because while the story is non-linear in the novella, there are some of those scenes in the novella that are from Carden's perspective. Not all of them. When I say it's non-linear, I mean we're jumping back and forth between Carden's childhood, things that are happening after this trilogy while they're married and they're being cute while being married, and also a few perspectives from the first book, but not the other ones. And it's kind of jumping back and forth until we end with a proper thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I will say, I am getting tired of every book being enemies to lovers.
I am too. Mostly because it's not enemies to lovers. But also, like, it is just tiresome to see them not get along. That being said, there is an appeal. Conflict is appealing in stories.
Yeah.
And disliking somebody who you eventually love is a very compelling thing because it is conflict in a story. Problem is that authors are not doing it well, and I would care less about it being in every story if it was well done in every story.
That's fair. I just know that is a main thing that gets advertised a lot now is, enemies to lovers, morally gray character who's actually not morally gray. He's just an absolutely terrible person, but we're going to let it pass. Smut. Shadow Daddy, number 59.
Every time I read a Holly Black book, I actually go back and start writing my book again. Ooh. Because Holly Black inspires me so much. And when I started my book, I had read, let's give some Beryl lore here on why I started writing a book and some of my motivations behind what I did when I started writing the book. I read Hollyblack with this trilogy, and it got me back into reading after years of being in a reading slump. So I read this trilogy, and then I read the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. Then I read 2 more books. And then, like, those books, I was like, oh, these are all great. And then I started picking up books that didn't seem like they would be perfect for me. Because when I picked up this Cruel Prince trilogy and the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy and read those, I picked them up because they sounded perfect for me. And they were. But then I started picking up things that weren't so perfect sounding for me. And I started noticing the patterns.
Yeah.
So about 3 weeks into this process of me reading books again for the first time in years, that wasn't just like one random book every couple of months and like sometimes finishing it, sometimes not. That's how bad my reading slump was. Like it was a 7 years reading slump. Yeah. So after about 3 weeks of this, I'm so fed up with reading these shitty enemies to lovers that aren't actually enemies to lovers, and just thinking back to Hollyblack and Stephanie Garber and how well those books were, that I legit sat down and said, okay, I'm getting an idea formulating in my head with several options happening. What is the worst thing that I can make my male love interest do to the female love interest that she can forgive? And yes, I have been writing, when I'm talking about my book is specifically taking the tropes of, like, the tropes that we are commonly seeing in romantasy books and making it seem like it is the correct trope and then twisting it on its head. And I'm doing that intentionally, and I don't know if I'm doing it well, but we will see. It's not indicative of anything else that I write ever, but it has been a blast to write, and I've been having so much fun twisting the tropes around. And I would like to thank Hollyblack for inspiring me so much, because every time I read her books, I'm like, man, I want to write like her someday. But also, do not take the series that I have been actively writing as any indication of me wanting to write like Hollyblack someday.
I've never stopped reading, because even when I wasn't reading books, I was reading fan fiction. Because that's the thing about me. I will hyperfixate on things constantly. Started out in high school, middle school. It was definitely in high school. I don't know if it was in middle school. That when I started getting into supernatural.
Oh, yeah. High school.
What were you thinking about?
Oh, I was just thinking about how, like, you were into other TV shows in middle school.
Oh, yeah. So I started reading supernatural fanfiction in high school. And then, you know, I've read Star Trek. I've read Star Wars. I've read so many different ones that, for me, I never stopped reading. But for a while, I wasn't reading books. I was reading online fan fiction. And let's be real here, there's so much out there that is fan fiction upon fan fiction. Like, hell, even artwork is fan fiction in some form.
Yes, it's beautiful. Like, we're in theory an art renaissance in some ways, and we just need to beat the AI out of the system, really. But, like, there's so much beautiful shit that we're finding online that we just... I'm going to be so sad when AI kills the internet, because, man, what we have right now is beautiful.
There are so many talented writers out there. And, honestly, so many people make fun of fan fiction. There are so many talented fan fiction writers that, honestly, they need to be employed by either as an author or as a script writer in some ways, because a lot of times they make better stories than the ones that they're basing it off of. And I'm not talking about Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey.
You know how many people, like, I wrote fan fiction in middle school. Yeah. It wasn't very good because it was middle school writing, but, like, you know, I was writing fan fiction in middle school. You know how many people in my writing classes I know that started with fan fiction? Yeah. I want to encourage every fan fiction artist to just you know what? Every fan fiction author to just keep writing.
You want to know the ultimate fan fiction writer? David Tennant. He would write... Yes. He would write Doctor Who fan fiction as essays, and he is the Doctor, okay? We love David Tennant.
fan fiction so hard.
We love David Tennant.
All
right.
We love our fan fiction writers too.
Yes. Keep it going. Keep it going, please.
Yeah. Are we done?
I think so.
I think we're done.
Unless you have anything else to say.
No. I think we're good. If I talk about the novella now, I'm just going to do it off of because we need the comments to prove.
Yes, we do.
All right, our book crows. I'm so glad that you got to join us here for this mini-series with The Cruel Prince. As you guys know, my favorite. We will continue to be referencing The Cruel Prince from here on out because I'm not going to stop, and I love anything hollyblack, really, but you guys get the idea. So thank you for joining us on this journey, and keep reading. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow, do all those social media things, and I hope you have a wonderful night.